One of the worst aspects of our throwaway society is that we toss out so much goodness the soil needs. To start a compost heap, all you need is a little knowledge and a sense of humus.
Did you know that almost 30% of domestic garbage is organic? Well, instead of just throwing these nutrients away, why not start composting? Now, it's really very simple. All you have to do is pick an area in the garden, throw in all the fruit, vegetable, tea leaves, scraps, coffee grounds, dead flowers, eggshells. You can even throw chicken bones. I mean, anything that's organic. Now, if you live in an apartment, try and organise the other tenants into composting communally. Ideally, your compost should be covered with lawn clippings or leaves and watered and turned occasionally, because that will speed up the decaying process. It's really not difficult. It only takes a little bit of time, and you'll be well rewarded for your effort, because after a couple of months, you'll end up with a wonderful natural fertiliser that can be used everywhere in your garden and in your pot plants as well. See, gardening like this will not only save you money, but it will cut down your use of chemicals too. And now that's very important. It's a very important part of recycling nutrients back into our soil. So why not turn this negative garbage into something positive and go for it.
Every year, Australians throw away well over 1 million tonnes of paper. That's about 6 million trees, enough of them to supply structural timbers for 210,000 new homes. Apart from using energy unnecessarily to make more paper, 3 trees are cut down each year to meet the needs of every one of us in timber and paper. Trees help purify the air. If we continue felling them at the present rate, we're all in trouble. Recycling 1 tonne of paper can keep 17 trees in the ground. But all recycled writing paper in Australia comes from West Germany, so we pay more for it. Meanwhile, tonnes of paper that could be recycled goes out with the garbage and is dumped back in the earth. Sonia would firmly resist anything but pristine white paper for her one-woman word processing business. She's been sold the idea that white is pure. It's not. The bleaching process can produce dioxin, one of the most toxic chemicals known to humanity. A firm link has been established between cancer and bleached paper products. But Sweden is one of the few countries making unbleached and chlorine-free paper products like tampons, toilet paper, nappies, milk cartons and coffee filter paper. Pulping will become an issue to polarise more and more Australians. Our politicians seem poised to allow logging of forests on an unprecedented scale. Current proposals earmark $11 billion for pulp, paper and timber mill construction in the next 40 years.
What is the purpose of native forest? A. To provide timber for housing and industry. B. To provide national parks for bushwalkers and campers. C. To boost Australia's economy through the pulp industry. D. To provide a complex support system for all life.
D is the answer, and the only possible one for anyone concerned about the future of the planet. Forests provide a complex support system for all life, including humanity. The trouble with the other answers is that they assume ownership of the forest rather than stewardship. But whether it was pulped, became furniture, or kept the home fires burning, do you know how much forest we've destroyed?
How much native forest has white Australia destroyed in its 200 years here? A. The odd tree here and there. B. A little more than half. C. Over 2/3. D. Just under a quarter.
The answer is B. A little more than half has been cleared since white man arrived. Only 5% of Australia is now native forest, and of that, only a tiny 12% of the remainder is protected in parks and reserves. One of the best things any of us can do for the environment is to pick the right time and the right place and plant a tree. If one day we can no longer live on Earth, the destruction of rainforest will be one of the major reasons. Only North Queensland and Tasmania contain traces of the way Australia was 100 million years ago. The few remaining forests of ancient Gondwana land are cathedrals of nature with enough secrets and hidden cures to potentially rewrite modern medicine. If today's miracles are tomorrow's scientific facts, the rainforest is loaded with miracle cures.
In 200 years of white occupation, we've more than halved Australia's forests. It's called the death of birth. We're destroying a vast storehouse of knowledge and information before we know what it contains. Burning the library without ever reading the books, destroying ecosystems that nurse new life forms. But for politicians whose sights are set on another 3 years in power, nothing can stand in the path of development and employment. Nothing, least of all nature. Over 200 years we've changed the face of this ancient continent. Many believe world conservation will live or die on the strength of what happens here in Australia in the next decade.